It's safe to say that news about tariffs has been exhausting these past few months. Coming from the United States, import tariffs have been threatened, postponed, reimposed, increased and paused, creating increased market uncertainty. We have yet to hear about specific carve-outs or tariff exemptions when it comes to aircraft, and so we have to assume that US carriers would be hit with these import taxes with each Airbus aircraft coming from overseas. Delta Airlines CEO, however, says that he won't be paying them. Let's find out how he's going to execute this strategy for today's video. Revealing its Q1 2025 financial results earlier in April, Delta CEO Ed Bastian said that imposing tariffs was the quote-unquote wrong approach. And while most tariffs have been paused at the time of making this video, with China being the one big exception, Delta's CEO still made some comments about his position on the matter. When asked about what impact tariffs will have on new aircraft deliveries, Bastian was quoted as saying the following: "Obviously, in this environment, we're going to work very closely with Airbus, which is the only airline we've got deliveries coming from for the balance of this year. And they've been a great partner. We'll do our very best to see what we have to do to minimize tariffs. But the one thing that you need to know we are very clear on is that we will not be paying tariffs on any aircraft deliveries we take. These times are pretty uncertain, and if you start to put a 20% incremental cost on top of an aircraft, it gets very difficult to make that math work. So we've been clear with Airbus on that, and we'll work through and see what happens from that." According to 1 Mile at a Time, Bastian was asked specifically if the airline was looking at deferring aircraft deliveries because of the tariffs, because of the slowdown in demand. To this, Bastian stated, "We will defer any deliveries that have a tariff on it." The United States, under the direction of President Trump, would have imposed a blanket 20% tariff on imports from the European Union, a rate that was devised using a formula based on the country's trade deficit with the EU. At the time of making this video, Trump has dropped his country-specific tariffs down to a universal 10% rate for all trade partners except China. We would assume that Delta is thus on the hook for that 10% charge if it wants to get its European jets into the country. For some, it seems like a game of chicken, to wait and see how long the US government wants to impose policies that'll punish the stock market and decrease consumer confidence. Delta could try and wait things out and postpone deliveries in hopes that the government caves and changes its policy. At the same time, with many travelers changing their travel plans away from the United States, postponing deliveries might be the smart move anyways. As we reported earlier in the year, Airbus CEO Guillaume Faury discussed prioritizing deliveries to non-US airlines if tariffs were imposed. Faury told CNBC, "We have a large demand from the rest of the world, so if we face very significant difficulties to deliver to the US, we can also adapt by bringing forward deliveries to other customers which are very eager to get planes." And so it seems like Delta and Airbus are somewhat on the same page when it comes to avoiding tariffs by postponing deliveries until conditions are more favorable. So, what are your thoughts on Ed Bastian's position with respect to not paying tariffs for his Airbus jets? Let us know by leaving a comment. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.